It's now 6 p.m. and the City of Lancaster Planning Commission will please come to order. Tonight, our invocation is to be offered by the Spiritual Assembly of the Bahias, I believe, and I'll lead us in the pledge. I don't know if our invocator is here tonight, but if you would stand. Apparently not. So Vice Chair Hall will offer the invocation.
Bow your heads. Ask for God's blessings upon this commission, our staff, our city. Thank you for continuing them. I'd like to read off the names of Shannon Johnson, Benetta Badal, Aurora Godoy, Isaac Aramanos, Larry Kaufman, Harry Bowman, Yvette Velisco, Sierra Claiborne, Robert Adams, Nicholas Thalasinos, Tin Nigan, Juan Espinoza, Damian Means, Michael Wetzel. They were the recent victims of the massacre in San Bernardino, and we ask that you bless them and their families and comfort them. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me wherever our flag went. There it is. Someone moved it on us. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Actually, it's in the wrong location. It's supposed to be primary to the left, right? Is that correct?
Do you want me to move it?
Anyway, it's the old Boy Scout tradition. What can I tell you? Is that right, Carl? All right. Can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioners Diana Cook.
Present.
Miguel Coronado.
Present.
Cassandra Harvey. Absent. Fabian Teresiano.
Here.
Vice Chair Randy Hall.
Here.
Chairman James Vose.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Public business from the floor. If anyone is unable to stay through the entire meeting, we offer a short period of time for 2 minutes for anyone who would care to address us if they are compelled to leave before the regular items are presented. Do we have any early speakers?
No, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Any person who would like to address the commission on any agendized item is requested to complete a speaker's card for the recording secretary identifying the item in which you wish to speak on, and then when we call those action items, you'll have an opportunity to speak to us. Just a bit of background. This commission meets twice a month, typically. Usually the week before our regular meeting, we meet with staff to review the agenda. It's an open public meeting. However, we do not deliberate, nor do we make any decisions. We are briefed by staff on the proposed agenda, and our questions, our individual questions, are responded to typically. So when you hear an item come up and little or no discussion, that often means is that the members have had an opportunity to review the action item well in advance of the meeting and may not necessarily want to deliberate any issues. For the record tonight, we have received on each and every public hearing item, items 3A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and item 4, we have received uncontested letters, which means that the applicants agree to all the proposed conditions as published in our agenda. Additionally, we've received modifications or changes, actually, to our meeting minutes, condition list on item 3C, condition list on item 3D, and condition list on item 3E. First action item tonight is our consent calendar, which is the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting in November 16, 2015. May I have a motion, please?
I'll move to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of November 16th, 2015.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any further comments? Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Item 2, which is a continued public hearing. The public hearing was opened when we heard this matter previously, and it continues to be open. This is a one-year extension for tentative tract map number 61535. However, we have not received an uncontested letter on this, so could we have a brief staff report, please?
Good evening, Chairman Bose, Planning Commissioners. This is a request for a time extension for TTM 61535 located near Avenue J and 45th Street West. It's a subdivision for 240 single-family lots in the R7000 zone. This came before the Commission last month, and it was continued to this month at the request of the applicant because the applicant needed additional time to perform a fiscal analysis of based on staff's recommendations, design recommendations. They are requesting a 60-day extension to have more time to make those determinations for their fiscal analysis. Staff is recommending the 60-day extension.
So it's an extension for 60 days of the one-year extension opportunity. Is that what this would be?
Right.
It's not a continuance.
It's not a continuance.
All right, thank you. So I have a speaker card on this, Mr. Ludicky?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Anyone wish to speak on this that's here in the audience? No? All right, then it'd be appropriate to close the public hearing without objection and consider a motion on this item.
I move that we grant a 60-day time extension for future public hearing at the February 22nd, 2016 Planning Commission meeting.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. New public hearings. Item 3A is tentative tract map 66627. So without objection, the public hearings are open on all of items 3, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. As I mentioned before, we have an uncontested letter on this. Anything to add from staff? Nothing? All right then. Any comments from members? All right, be appropriate to close the public hearing on item 3A and consider a motion.
I'll make the motion to grant a one-year extension to December 18, 2016, based on the findings contained in the staff report and subject to the revised condition list, attachment to resolution number 06-88.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Anything further? Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next item is 3B, which is tentative tract map number 61314. The hearing is open on this. Do we have speaker cards?
No, Mr. Chairman.
All right, then. Any compelling reason to hear a staff report from anyone? All right, then it's appropriate to close the public hearing without objection on 3B and consider a motion.
I move that we grant a one-year extension to December 19th, 2016, based on the findings contained in the staff report and subject to the revised conditions list, attachment to resolution number 05-82.
Thank you.
Second?
Thank you. Anything further from the members? Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next item is 3C, which is tentative tract map 61989. Public hearing is open on this. Do we have any speaker cards on this item?
No, Mr. Chairman.
All right, then. Anyone want to hear a staff report? Again? All right, then it would be appropriate to close the public hearing without objection and consider a motion on item 3C.
I move to grant a one-year extension to December 19, 2016, based on the findings contained in the staff report and subject to the revised condition list, attachment to resolution number 05-87.
Thank you. Second, please.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. The next item is item 3D, which is tentative tract map number 62207. Public hearing is open on this item. Do we have any speakers?
No speakers on this item, Mr. Chairman.
All right, then. Anyone want to hear the staff report? Nope. All right, then it's appropriate to close the public hearing without objection and consider a motion on this item.
I move to grant a one-year extension to December 19, 2016, based on the findings contained in the staff report and subject to a revised conditions list, attachment to resolution number 05-88.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Anything further from the members? Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next item is item 3E, tentative tract map number 62409. Public hearing is open on this matter. Do you have a speaker card on this?
No speakers on this one, Mr. Chairman.
All right. I did notice we got a revised exhibit, I believe, didn't we, on this? Right. All right, then. It's really a challenging piece of property, long and narrow. All right. Anything further from members? Be appropriate to close the public hearing without objection. Consider a motion on this item.
I'll make the motion to grant a one-year extension to December 19, 2016, based on the findings contained in the staff report and subject to the revised condition list, attachment to resolution number 05-92.
Thank you.
second that motion.
Thank you. Anything further? Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next item is item 3F, which is tentative track map number 62841. Public hearing is open on this item. We have speaker cards in this.
We do have a speaker's card from the applicant's representative.
Okay. The applicant's representative would like to share anything with us, they're certainly welcome, whomever that is. Who is it?
Good evening. I'm Chris Panera with Royal Investors Group, and I'm just here to answer any questions this evening.
All right. I don't know that there are any. It's an uncontested letter you
Right.
gave us.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, then. Anything further from the members? Be appropriate to close the public hearing without objection and consider a motion on this item.
I move that we grant a one-year extension to December 19th, 2016, based on the findings contained in the staff report and subject to the revised conditions list, attachment to resolution number 05-93.
Thank you. Have a second, please?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Anything further from the members? Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Next item is item 3G, which is a vesting tentative tract map 62215. Public hearing is open on this. We have no speaker cards.
No speaker cards.
Question of you folks. All the tract maps we've seen were extensions of tentative maps. Can you share with us what the difference between a vested map and a tentative map might be?
A vesting map gives the applicant certain kinds of vested rights that extend beyond the map recordation. If they were to record a vesting map, there's a certain period of time during which the city, in the kind of the language that the courts use sometimes, can't change the rules on somebody. In other words, if a city had a certain requirement that was in place at the time the map was considered validly filed, they would still be able to avail themselves of those same requirements. In order to deal with that kind of situation, what the city normally does, and other cities have done also, is it ensures that the conditions that are placed on the initial approval of the vesting map give us the flexibility to, for instance, on fees, require whatever fees are in place at the time a building permit is issued and things of that type, to ensure that someone doesn't get kind of the right to go back to something that in this case might be 8 or 9 years prior. So the courts have held that cities have the ability to do that, particularly if it's something that's uniformly applied across the rest of the city. But vesting maps really came into being as a way for subdividers to try to deal with constant changes in city regulations that might inhibit what they were looking at doing. In particular, I think there were cases in parts of the state where cities would go change the general plan or change the zoning configuration and then say, well, the map's no longer valid because it no longer conforms. So it was a way to kind of acquire some of the rights that you sometimes get through a development agreement without going through that particular process. So,
Is anything different in the design, the engineering of a vested map that once it's applied, or once the
No.
application is made, is any different?
no. Early on, cities tried to deal with these things by saying, well, you have to show us exactly which house you're going to plot on the lot, exactly where it's going to locate, exactly how it's going to look. And what finally kind of came out of all of this was that, cities can't apply heavier rules on a vesting map than it applies on others. Subdividers basically can avail themselves of what is, in some ways, a remarkably small amount of vesting right simply by filing something as a vesting map. There was an attorney, probably shouldn't say this, there was an attorney I went to at one seminar that I went to on this. He says, I don't know why all subdividers don't do this. He says, all you really have to do under state law is write vesting on the map application.
There's no difference in the time, the potential time extensions that can be granted on a vested map?
No, not simply by being a vesting map in and of itself.
How do you deal with the proposed modifications then? Is that by mutual agreement?
Yes. Yeah, because obviously vesting maps are subject to the same kinds of extension provisions. The city can deny them for, public health, safety, and welfare issues. So.
Very good, thank you.
On a vesting map, we've done a lot of changes in a lot of the different tentative track maps where we've made access through and done away with cul-de-sacs and increased or decreased lots. Does this absolve them if they have a vesting in their title of having to make those changes, or is it part of the process, the review process we're doing?
We treat it as part of the process that they go through, and the way we look at it is this. When a map comes up for an extension request, city gets to look at it and determine, is there a reason to extend it or not extend it? And in cases like what you're seeing in many instances here, where the city's expectations have changed, its normal requirements have changed, sometimes I would say for the benefit of subdividers in some cases, they actually get benefit out of some of those changes. The city will simply say, look, we are fine with extending the map, but we need you to meet the current requirements that we're operating under. And of course, the option to the subdivider is, well, I can kind of agree to these. In some cases, they're beneficial to me, but if I have to refile the map, the city's going to apply them to me anyway. So, in many cases, these are sort of a negotiated issue.
So this gives the developer a little more clout in the negotiations, or no?
No, having a vesting map really doesn't give them any additional clout in that provision.
We probably won't see a situation like we've been having to deal with where the maps were suspended for almost a decade, and we're scrambling now to try to bring all these into compliance years later. So I'm kind of with Jim. It seems kind of interesting that there is an actual difference there if there really doesn't seem to be a difference.
Yeah, I think the intent when the legislation was first put in was to kind of do more what I think you're describing, which was to kind of say, hey, once the city accepts it, then the city has to apply only these sets of rules. But ultimately, as the courts looked at things and the legislature kind of passed other requirements that went into place, the real difference between having a vesting map and just a regular map isn't perhaps as great as it was a couple of decades ago.
Thank you.
Anything further from members? All right, then it would be appropriate to close the public hearing without objection and consider a motion on item 3G.
Move to granting one-year extension to December 19, 2016, based on the findings contained in the staff report and subject to the revised condition list. Attachment to resolution number 05-89.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Anything further? Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you. Last action item is item number 4, which is conditional use permit number 15 So without objection, the public hearing is open. Could we have a brief staff report on this? This is not something we see every day.
Good evening, Chair Volson, Commissioners. I have before you tonight Conditional Use Permit 15-20. This is a request for an alcoholic beverage controlled Type 70 license, allowing the sale of beer and wine for on-site consumption by hotel guests and their invitees. The sale of beer and wine would be daily from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. The service of alcohol would be conducted from the counter area of the hotel's breakfast room. Entrance to the breakfast room is only accessible through the hotel. There would not be separate service of alcohol to guests in the pool area of the hotel. However, hotel guests and their invitees would be permitted to take alcoholic beverages back to the room or into the pool area. Liquor is not proposed to be sold as part of this conditional use permit. Based on the small area that would be designated for alcohol sales, the sale of beer and wine at this site is considered ancillary. Staff is recommending approval for an ABC Type 70 license, allowing the sale of beer and wine for on-site consumption by hotel guests and their invitees because the sale and consumption is considered ancillary to the hotel use, and the proposed use is considered a convenience to the hotel guests. In addition, the planning section has received investigation form from a sheriff's station stating that the department does not oppose the applicant's request for an ABC Type 70 license. The conditions of approval have been included that would ensure that the safety and general welfare of the surrounding area would be maintained. Therefore, staff is recommending approval for the proposed request. Staff is available for any questions.
Thank you. Anyone have any questions or comments on this? Nope. All right, then. And we do not have a speaker's card, right?
I have no speaker's card, but the applicants are in the audience.
Certainly welcome to offer any comments you wish, not required. All right. So then, without objection, the public hearing is closed on this item, and we'll consider a motion.
I'll make the motion that we adopt resolution number 15-37, approving conditional use permit number 15-20.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any further comments? Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Best of luck with a little extra opportunity in your new venture, Mr. Patel and Mrs. Patel. All right, then, that concludes our action items this evening. The next item is director's announcements. You're going to share with us the department's recent award.
Yes, I will share that with the commission.
Did you bring a visual of the photo op?
No, I did not.
I'm disappointed. It was a very nice photograph, Mr. Luedeke, very nice.
Well, it was a very nice evening event, and actually the city was recognized for a couple of things. It was the High Desert branch of the American Public Works Association, and they have a process every year where they go through and look at good projects for potential recognition in various categories. And the city was successful this year. First, in best use of technology, the city is adopting a new electronic development review and processing system. That in and of itself is not earth-shattering news, but as you're well aware, our department is a combination of our engineering and building and planning functions, as well as the public works side and maintenance side of the city. And so what we're really looking at doing is trying to integrate that all together so that becomes a much more unified process. And that was the thing that we thought was unique about our approach, and thankfully the jury agreed with that, and we did win an award for that. that. The city was also fortunate. They pick every year a Public Works Employee of the Year. Now, this year they actually had a tie, so they had co-winners. One of those is a person who's now since retired from the city, but John Cantrell, who's been very instrumental and was very instrumental in helping set up the city's traction seal program and looking at different ways to provide improvements to our roadways, particularly maintenance and longevity. And I think that was something that he really did have a passion about, and it was good to see him recognized for that also.
Very good. Well, congratulations. How'd you like John get away is what I want to know.
John, if you know him at all, follows his own drum beat, and I'm sure he decided when it was time for him to go. We still, though, have the other half of the duo.
Fortunately, yes. All right, very good. Anything further? Anything?
No. No, but I can tell you that from the things we're seeing coming, I believe the Planning Commission will have a busy and eventful year in 2016.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Just like all good movie trailers, you'll have to find out.
Stay tuned for coming attractions, huh? Members, do you have anything?
I do, Chairman.
Go right ahead.
The year is coming to a close, and I just want to make sure that I thank the staff for everything that you guys do. You do really, really hard throughout the year, and yes, we have a very busy agenda, as you just mentioned, but you guys are the ones that make it happen, and we here to support and do everything we can to make sure that our community grows and prospers and continues to be one of the most beautiful cities in the United States. And it's looking that way with so many innovative projects that come into the city. So I'm extremely proud to serve the city of Lancaster and serve in this commission. So thank you so much, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything to add? No?
Merry Christmas. Thank you for everything.
It's always an exciting time of the year, and we have the opportunity. We're a little early this year in our meeting schedule. Usually it falls a little later. Then we had a very rapid agenda because today, if you all know, probably you know, I know the ladies know, but this is the busiest shopping day for the Christmas holiday today. So it's now 6:36, and the shops close at 8, 9, 10, and some stay open 24 hours a day. So we'll stand adjourned and wish one another a very Merry Christmas. We stand adjourned until our special meeting on January 11th at 5:30 p.m. here in the Parks, Recreation, and Arts Conference Room here at City Hall. Thank you all.